Chodan Soji Chonamba, Janju Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi, Dadi Junyo Jite Sonanti, Rola Penche Sanje Drupashu. Chodan Soji Chonamba, Janju Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi, Dadi Junyo Jite Sonanti, Rola Penche Sanje Drupashu. Chodan Soji Chonamba, Janju Badu Dagni Kyatsuchi, Dadi Junyo Jite Sonanti, Rola Penche Sanje Drupashu.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Shiva.
How are you today? It's good? Good. The weather change very easily. Sometimes too hot, sometimes too cold. Everybody put the winter clothes, put back to work on clothes, then we have to take back again. Anyway, we are gathered here to why everybody think about, why we come here together, why we always, someone talk, someone listen, Also, never finish, always. If you study college, high school, something. Sometimes there's some limit, we finish. Okay, I finish. But we practice, studies, never ever finish. Then we say, why? It's too boring. Too boring. Too boring. Too long. Then, anyway, everybody go to, come to temples, go to church, everybody there go to their own religions, their gomba or temple. That is us, everybody running there. Then we say, why everybody running there? If we go to walk, we get checked. We walk 5, 6, 8 hours. Then last week, then we get some check. And every Sunday, everybody run to the church, the temple, the gomba. And we don't get. And why are we running? I think we all running is, everybody wants something, needs something, right? Everybody wishes something good. No one thinks that maybe our something, learn some bad things, some horrible things. They have to go to church, temple. No one wishes that. Everybody wishes something, learn something new. And then do something good, then get some blessing from God or Buddha or whatever you believe. Then make something better life. Everybody, wish that, right? And, I become monk. So, why you become monk? Just we have short life. And many people think, maybe longer for maybe 100 years, but it's short. They have something desire on. We have a lot of things joy. joy. No? But what is monks and nuns cut their head, wear some special some different robe. What they do, you know, many people think this, you know. We wish, you know, we think, oh, we become monk or nun, this better life, easy life, more benefit, do something others also. We wish that, then we become monk, you know. Then the lay people think, oh, I become lay, you know. I can join my desire to, you know, lay lives. You know, everybody has their own different opinion, different idea. Anyway, everybody wish to happy, good life, relax, successful. They run all the day. Then you can say, you know, the presidents, business people, they cheating, you know. They cheat more, they cheat, you know. Usually business people, they cheat a lot, you know. They say, oh, this is my best one, then you did it. Oh, this is my best one, you know. They add more things, you know. This, you know, they want to, that doesn't motivation, I want to cheat this person, you know. I want to do something better for it, but they want to cheat their own goal, good business. You know, therefore, you know, they're not motivation, their actions are good, you know, cheat, you know. Say, oh, this is bad. But this is very good. If you do that, then you get this benefit. You do this benefit, you know. You know, all the beings running to happiness, to become better. But we have always something missing, right? Everybody. You high level, middle level, low level, doesn't matter. Everybody missing something. There's something, always something wrong. Mentally, physically, you know, financially, everything. Always something wrong, right? Everybody perfect? I don't think so. Anyway, okay, now I'm done. I'm perfect. Maybe not okay. Usually maybe 60, 70%, maybe 80%, everybody fine. You know, everybody good, but not 100%. Everybody has something problem. If you know, high, low, doesn't matter, you know. High is a high problem, medium is a medium problem, low is a low problem, you know. Then everybody running now, why we have something wrong, what? 다 이나요. 다 먼저 대화 내용이 그랬어. 이나요. 다 대화 내용이 다 내용제야 버릇이고 말이야.
So what we want is happiness. While we want happiness, we still don't know how to create the actual cause of happiness.
대화 세때 제가 깨놨다는 거예요. 뭐죠? 직 나랑 같은 지 망아서 죄요 말았어.
So the happiness is produced by the cause and conditions. It's not something that can be given by like a Buddha, God, or so forth.
얘는 뭐 칼라 심보지 사야야. 제가 깨놨다는 가지 너무 전에 칼라 소면서 다 방금 칼라 안 말아.
Just like if we want to have a delicious meal, then we have to prepare it. We have to have everything together, all the cause and conditions together, to have that delicious meal. Just by wanting it, and you can't just have it, without preparing all those things, right?
어떻게 딱 봐도 나봐. 나비 가르치는 거잖아. 대화도 중간에 제가 깨놨다는 거예요. 그래서 나도 깨는 거예요.
So this is what Buddhism teaches, that all the happiness and suffering comes from cause and conditions.
대리마다 어느 때 저도 깨서야 돼. 수치를 써봐 있었어. 대화도 중간에 제가 깨서야 돼.
So who creates these causes and conditions?
시다 깨서야 됐다. 주로는 바로 내가 주로 연구를 했어. 이제 다 소소 나 소소 적고 그랬어.
So usually the conditions, conditions from outside, they come from outside, but the cause has to be created by oneself.
다 오늘 간대지 제가 가서 저거잖아. 말아서 다 모두 남이 그 깨워로 투모 매서라고 그랬어.
So how do we create the cause for these happiness and sufferings that we experience? Well, first of all, Buddhism believes that there is no beginning of the life.
근데 제가 도마면서 만족 가르를 공부해 만족 가디는 만들어 공부했어. 나가서 만들어 공부해서.
So there's no beginning to life, and also during all this lifetime we are accustomed or used to grasp at the self or the I.
안한테 영어 전에 내가 지원이나 something 내가 대화로 요하네요. 풀라 그 그게 누가지 그래서.
So any kind of actions or activities that we engage in, based on this grasping at the self or the I, then it will only produce suffering. Although it seems like sometimes it gives us some kind of happiness, which is very temporary, and which is also a sort of suffering. And so basically, it only only produces sufferings.
근데 예산 나도 되게 신경 많이 써. 나한테 영어도 전날 누가 저기 와도 신경 많이 했어.
But most of us, we don't know that if we are under the influence of this grasping at the self, then this will produce only sufferings.
되게 신경 매워 진짜. 나도 되게 영어도 전에 나도 내가 그러다 가든나 직소소 마상하시 딱 강의 쳐야 되는 거 같아.
So because we are influenced by this thought of grasping at the self, or thinking of oneself all the time, and even though we want to have happiness, all we get is suffering.
아니 자가 빼다다. 아니 이제 시원하게야. 내가 누가 돈도 셈이 장 누가 되는 거 봐. 죽어. 내가 돈도 셈이 장 대위 그랬다 제가 Thubten Damchoe.
And also, Shantideva said, that sentient beings, although they want to, they don't want to experience any sufferings, but they are always running after the cause of the sufferings, or always creating the cause of sufferings. Even though they want to have happiness, they destroy the cause of happiness, as if it is their enemies.
다 빼려고 생각했어. 근데 누구 여한테 아니 나도 남쪽을 믿지만 스치기 거 말이야.
So that fact that is not known to the ordinary people usually.
그러나 나도 개파다 쉬우지거나 다 하버드 MIT 등 페이지에서 이 쓰여로 왔어. 이 얘기를 왔어.
So, for example, those scholars from MITs or Harvard, of course, they are great scholars, right?
옛날이야. 나중에 영어도 전에 내가 전에 수도라 강연 책에 와 신경 많이 했어.
But they don't know that, but by following this grasping at the self or self-cherising attitude, whatever one does is only brings suffering. They don't know that.
왜 자샤와이 나스 단단간도 다 비나 세린 교화도 소리 누클레어 관계에서 너무 코로나 메워서 그래. 아니 또 속으로 왔어.
For example, now scientists they have created this nuclear weapon, which can destroy the whole world. Right?
다 누클레어 관계에 전에 슈마 수준을 되고 와베리 배제한 수 연구를 선 수치 선도 말 전개가 말했어. 신경 말이죠.
So they created this nuclear weapon, but they don't think that this nuclear weapon is also going to destroy themselves.
다 내내 로봇에는 이자 숨자 시자 이런 것도 따다. 뒤값 그 밀도 따나 단대 밀도도 콧발을 전해냈어. 그래서나 단대 밀도도 세력이 된데 누구라고 하면 전에 슈마 대수주 강 수자네. 당고파 잡고 싶어 좀 되게 수주가 수유네. 아니 수주 잡고 당 밀어 가면 여기서 온도 왔어. 먹어봤더니 용쓰여요.
So in the future, like maybe 300 or 400 years in the future, in that generation, people might think that the people of this generation were very stupid to create such a weapon, because even though they think to destroy others, but it's going to destroy themselves too. So, so not knowing that, they create this, and so they might think people in the future might think the people of this generation were very stupid.
왜 자샤와는 단단한 세력이 쉬워로 세력이 야지 가슴으로 다 가지고 미국을 가시는 거 같아.
So, for example, now the science is developing so much. More science, more technologies they develop, that much more people lose their job. And so these scholars maybe don't know, that this is a problem that it's going to bring to the people. So usually the job that takes 5 people to do, with a computer, one person can do that. Right? So now the 4 people lost job, right? So the person who developed that computer didn't see the disadvantage of it. He only looked at the advantages, but didn't see the disadvantages. So, like in India, in the bus, the local bus, they have 2 people working, right? The driver driving, and then one person, like a conductor, right? So collecting the money. But here, you don't need that. You only have a driver, and they all pay through the machine. So one person lost his job. Right? And so if you think in that way, you see that more, the science and technologies develop, that much more problem people faces also. So like in India, there's less technologies, science and development, and therefore people are more relaxed, more easygoing, more relaxed. But here, there's so much technology, so much science that people, are always in rush and always in stress and tense.
No, even you go to New York, here maybe they don't much. In the subway, look, everybody, they never talk to each other, just running. They go this train, they go that other train, running. If you go to India, maybe bus station train. Then maybe you guys not. But chicken, something was the party, Java, but you don't want to go. But you don't go. There are something in it, Java, children, and
so here people don't talk at all, with each other in the local trains or buses. But like in India, people who are grown up here, they should not go to India at all because it's all so much loud and noise. People talk all the time, and it make you go crazy.
Real. Middle of game over there, could you send a number of the show your mother?
So they're talking and they're shouting, but they don't have much stress in their mind.
And they are not cutting you to cool. Legacy much ever down. And it's a short of down. Legacy was.
So here people are always rushing because of because they want to get into the job, or they're afraid that they might be late to the job, or even they might lose the job and so forth. So it's always that kind of worry and stress.
But compared to New York, Boston is more peaceful. More peaceful. That thing you want to catch it is not. Because she just don't tell you should know. Nobody should go to the door side of the
so in general, why there is this kind of problem is because of the technology or the science that has developed so much. So I'm not saying it's good, it's bad or anything, but people who live in India and people who live here, if you were to take the hardship, the people in India will be able to take more hardships, will be able to endure more hardships.
내가 나도 장화는 장이 관리 뜻이 좋다고 도 사는 사람들 뜻이 좋다고 도
So here people, if they are cold, they cannot bear or endure the suffering of the cold, and if they are hot, they cannot endure the suffering of heat.
Can you guys walk do something in a very strong rain? They are outside. No one will. That's the way I'm getting inside. 근데 이 말이야. 다 시기 지금 된게 변조하고 답이나 알고 말하거나 다 양자로 그래서 야지 힘들어요.
So in terms of the financial development, this is one of the top, right? In the top place.
어떻게 다 되게 세력이 야제다 시 변조에 들어가고 미 생각 대화 들으면 다 너무 관계하고 시행도 와.
And so from the development of all these science and technology, so the financial situation doesn't really give happiness to people, right? We can see that from this.
근데 여러분 누마 변화 대립 좀 집중 뒤값들은 미수 강력해졌다. 시 등재 예제로 왔다는 게 대화시 용거래 다 사면 민 강갈라 이제 요새 야야.
So pretty sure that the people during the 16th, 17th, 18th century, they all thought that if this were developed, this will definitely bring a real happiness to people, right?
얘나가 주로 제가 대화체거나 선거나 딱 맞아 선거거든. 아주 간단 저거죠. 사고는 사고 그죠. 장고는 장고 그죠. 가리고는 보면 여러 중에도
So if we can be contented, satisfied with the happiness from our side, and then we should be satisfied by knowledge, right? Because whatever we want, we can get it. If we want to have cold, we can have cold. If we want to have hot, we can have hot.
배차는 전술로 변해 칼라로 갖다 지내 칼라가 집어 상무다. 그리나 말하는 사람도 돌아오려는 분자체 이렇게 주지오지 거야도.
So for example, like, when you eat, during the whole week, you have a different food, to eat every day, right? And you don't eat the same food every day. You have different kind of food to eat, and also clothes. You don't wear one same clothes for the whole week. You change every day, different clothes.
But India also there, most of the cities, countryside, in Tibetan, my area. When we wearing some new one, enter there, finish, same day, we are not changing. Eat also mostly same. India also they eat. As the local people always say eat rice and dal. And so they eat all mango. What is mango? No mango?
It's cooked dough. Cooked dough. Not dosa, it's a dough. It's a dough, but you cook it and then, you have kind of a sauce. And you don't have to chew it, you just swallow it.
It always eat same. In Tibetan, it always, same. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, same. But this country has very good, everything is perfect. But compared, you can bring 2 people, 3 people together. Maybe center, they check their mind. We have more relaxed, with more trust. If I'm not wrong, maybe in this country people have more trust, stressed, more body. 근데 다 대를 가르쳐줬나 간시 쉰 텐지가 양반도 내가 저쪽으로 말해 강도야 내가.
So anyway, what it shows is that the external facilities will not be able to provide us actual happiness.
양반도 대화라 지금 생각 대화다. 리그 대화 이용은 딱 하지. 리그 대화도 파지에다 시험 텐지가 저쪽으로.
And so among the two happinesses, the physical and mental happiness, the physical happiness maybe can be provided by the external facilities.
다 생각 대화대 생 코랑도 지지 않아도 다 주로네 말고 생각 저쪽 말해서 누가 말해서.
Whereas the mental happiness is can only be provided by the mental itself, the mind itself. The external thing cannot provide cannot create mental happiness.
어떻게다 다 대식은 다 대미식하다 나도 그래나 삼라 직장으로 뭐 놓아.
Because we don't know that, and therefore we always have some kind of worries and stress all the time.
근데 다 남이 주고 나라야 저랑 쌤 네가 원하는 거나 저랑 쌤 네가 동안 줘야 거다. 저랑 쌤이 원하는 말로 줘보다. 저랑 쌤 네 야제 동안나 네가 저랑 교화줘 대화줘 저랑 쌤 네가 야제 방 거래서 나도 또 라자서 로중.
So Buddhism, Buddha's teaching teaches us about how to achieve these happinesses, the mental happinesses. There are this kind of minds and that kind of minds, and these are the good minds. And if you follow this, this will create happiness for you. And these are the bad minds. You should not follow them. If you generate these kind of minds, then it will only bring sufferings to you. So there are many these bad minds, negative bad minds, and the main one is the grasping at the self, thinking I all the time. And so the more we are under the control or the influence of this mind, that much more is going to bring us suffering. So, for example, among the nations or countries, so this to my country, they are causing problem to my country, and then they try to do something bad back to that country, and that way that creates more sufferings or problems among the countries. So among the families, so normally we see other people, one as a friend, one as enemy, and one as strangers. And so because you say it's my family or my friend, this is my friend, and therefore you have that kind of attraction or attachment towards them. And so because you have this grasping, saying that my friend, my family, and therefore if something bad happens to them, or if someone else give a problem to them, then that will make you unhappy. Then we consider some other people as enemy because of the idea that the person has given you some problem or caused you harm or something, and because of that you think of that person as your enemy. And so therefore the main and the culprit here is the I, right? And sometimes like among the friends or the couples or the husband and wife, there are some differences in views, right? And then because they don't think in a way you think, or because they don't do in a way you want to do, therefore you get angry or you get into fight with them. So this is I don't like it because they're not doing as I wish and so forth. So there's always this I and up in the front. And then always we have that I thinking it's causing me harm and causing me disturbance and so forth. And so because we're always grasping at this I, or thinking of this I all the time, therefore we always face these problems continuously without any stop. And so while saying that you don't want to have a spicy food, if you add chili into the food, it will become spicy, right? And so it's similar to that, but if we don't think in detail, then we will not understand it.
For example, yesterday you have something in relationship with other people. I don't know, example, we think today, why we have problem yesterday? What we said, well, maybe he or she doesn't share with me things. Or maybe he or she doesn't listen to me what I give advice. Or he or she harms for me, something do wrong for me. We always do I. Right? Today that teacher you been a corner of Savana. That's sort of Chobag, Gay Canning, so corner of Lamana. Corner Tina, so Samamacho.
So because of that, if you become angry, whether angry to individual or to a group, you yourself become unhappy. So we created the cause by ourselves, right? And then we are the one to experience the results. And so because of the grasping at the self, or thinking of oneself, and then you get angry towards others, but then you end up yourself becoming unhappy. So anyway, so this is how we create the cause for ourselves to have happiness or sufferings. So no matter how much we try, what we do, we don't get that happiness that we want. That is because of not knowing the right way to do things. So what is really causing us all this suffering, is the grasping of the self. So if we don't do anything towards that, no matter what we do, anything else, will not reduce any sufferings to us. So we have this kind of discrimination towards these people, right? Some we see as a friend, some as a stranger, some as enemy. So and because of this different kind of discrimination thought that we have towards them, we experience all these sufferings. So, but if we are able to see them all as one, in the same way, to the enemy or to a stranger, just as we see towards the friend, then we will have no problem.
He or she, some partner. Anyway,
and then also, if we think about other person who is causing you to become angry, that person is doing that not because he wants to do that, but because he is also under the control of the delusions. And we don't know that either. So we always think that, he did this and I become so angry. So he made me become angry because of doing something. But we never think that, the person you cannot blame the person because he is doing that under the influence of the delusions. He is influenced by delusion and he's doing that. and and so he's not to be blamed. We never think that way.
배차샤와이나 다 루바들라도 다 라바가 쉬운데 전에 야ችን 다시 미스버도 통할 거야도.
So, for example, here in this country, of course, you don't see much fist fights, right? People hitting each other, not so much.
Maybe they fight even. Not sure. In Tibet and India, they fight their hand, India, they fight with the take out the shoes, they shoot. In Tibet, they hit, what call it, this, they hit. And then that, 당연히 나도 공로 사와나. 단 정도 쉬어는 나도 나갔더니 정도 쉬어서 정도가 딱 나빠는 공로 사와로.
So if you got hit by a fist, then if you want to get really angry, so what caused you the pain directly is that fist, right? So you should be angry towards that, towards the hand.
다 대는 나도 나빠 공로 사는다. 나빠 꼭 미시하고 그 공로 나도 사실은 사는도.
So we don't get angry towards that hand, right? Because we think it's the hand, belongs to the person. So we get angry to the person.
다들 원래 라바 가지는 라바 그 와서 그 믿기 쉬워는 라바 그냥 쉬워하게 와서만 아마도 상관이 왔어.
So we think because the hand doesn't have the intention itself, it doesn't have the intention to hit. It is the person who used their hand to hit you.
그래요. 근데 다 person 때라야 와서만 그 용어를 영어 제서한다. 용어를 그또 붙여 당한 거라서 도저히 상당 거라서.
And then in the same way, a person doesn't have control either, because he's influenced by these delusions, so he's kind of being pushed, by the delusions to hit you.
And treasure, 나도 배려해요. some come up with treasure, 저기 되잖아 그래서.
Or somebody tried to stab you, so it's the knife that stabs you, right? And so in the same analogy, you can use that.
In Tibetan tradition, in Kamas, they fight to knife. Not they shoot the knife. Also, we can check person who has a lot of scars behind here. They say this person is not low humans.
The scars on the back is not very brave. So that's the sign that he got hit from behind because he was running away. And so people hit him from behind.
So
if he has the scars in the front, then they regard him as very brave because he went in the front to fight.
Usually, Tibetan tradition is a combat very short temperature. They fight out. But this is true also they fight. But today, when 지금 공로사나, 다 마성이 제일하고 모두 공로사고, 내가 사람이 좋았어.
So then, if you want to get angry, it is the knife that injured you, right? So you should get angry towards the knife, but wouldn't get angry towards the knife, right?
Sometimes the kids make that, maybe they run. There's something called to fall, then hit some, they hit, then they're angry. Then parents come to the big level, they kids are happy, they're thinking,
And so whatever they strip because of the stone or the wood, if the parents come and hit the wood, then they feel happy because they think it's the stone that caused them the fall.
But we think this is right? We think that this is just kids, just we try to Pabongka
But actually the kids were right? We pretend to slap or hit the stone or the wood, but just to convince the child to not cry more. But actually it is the stone or the wood that's directly giving you the pain, right?
나도 대를 놓자 치아이 났어. 나도 요라생에 때 코르다 모르다 걸 먹은 적도 장아도 지 나빠도 많이 녹수도 왔어.
And so actually, but we, the grown-ups, we point at the person, he or she, and then say that because of her, I got this pain.
다음도 파서 오늘 he or she that 수시문에서는 거대로 깡바대로 수바다 파는 데 저거나 무슨 누구라고 was.
But if we try to find that person, he or she who hit us, we will not be able to find. So which is he, which is she? Is it his head, his hand, or his body? Which one is he? So if we try to look at it that way, then we will not find him.
드레지의 선로 파타와이나 코로 사사가 이제 거랑 가서 나는 지금 여기 자로 그래요.
Think in that way, then we will not see the basis towards which one we get angry. It will not exist as it appears to us.
어따때 저당시 남벽에 로당라고 시전에 단 로당라고 되는 데서 그지는 나도 지금 알아라 저기 그랬어. 근데 예전에 소속이 다 점점 싸우는 그랬어.
This is how it is advised or taught in Buddhism in general. But whether it is really true or not, you can analyze it yourself by seeing the proofs, the reasonings, and so forth.
사실 좀 내서야 돼. 세제 다외 세제는 레바가 많이 가서 저런 게 제가 제가 그랬어. 내가 그냥 캐나고 말했어. 나도 도망가 떼셔.
So Buddha Shakyamuni has given us the right to do the analysis. He said always check my teachings, just like you will check the gold. Like when you check the gold, you check it by rubbing it, by cutting it, by burning it, and so forth, to see whether it's the real gold or not. Just like that, you should check my teaching. You should not accept just because I taught it. So you have to use your brain, your logic, to check whether it's really true or not, whether it makes sense or not. So the Buddhism teaches like this and like that, and whether it's really true or not, you can see into your own day-to-day life, and see whether it makes sense or not. And so also, it includes a lot of science in Buddhism or Buddha's teachings.
So
the scientists, they always check the object, right? And then they come to the conclusion after checking whether it's really like this or not. Whereas in Buddhism, you don't have to analyze so much on the outside object. Mainly you have to check your internal mind. So, if you compare the outside object, the external object, and internal mind, then internal mind is more ruling, more powerful, more ruling, and so therefore it is important to analyze more about the internal mind. So I'm not against the development of all this science and technologies, but of course we need that. This is good. We can use it in a good way, but that doesn't give. What I'm saying is that doesn't give us the everlasting or satisfying happiness.
Otherwise, the Harvard or MIT is going to come to debate me. You are the argument to say that we are the best person to say that. Of course, they are the best person. But that means not because that.
So they don't see, the problems coming from that development. They only see the good things, the good side of it, but they don't see the disadvantage of it.
And
so those big machines that dig the ground, like all these machines, they can do a lot of job, a lot of work that usually takes maybe hundreds of people to do that.
대단 트리 쇼고 이제 가만로 나 밀레가 녀도 밀레가 가도 녀도 미가가 딱 너무 좋아서 말로.
So more development there are in the technologies, there will be less job for people. And so how much less job there are for people, that much more stressful problems people will face.
딱 가지는 말이 다 말까는 treasure 나야 보는 사람이 남이라까는 treasure 나야 키레고 간가.
And also again, that's because of this grasping at the self, it all comes after that. It's I, my family, my parents, and my friends. So they might face these problems and so forth.
뭐가 되는지를 모르겠다. 저도 되는지도 쌈이 당시오.
So it's something like that. But whether it's like that or not, you should think about it.
Okay. 근데 다 나도 지금 때인데 대화. 되게 강의 체험 명예기 대화서 다 토바라. 아니 일단 나도 논문 제고 생각하고 그래서.
And so we have to practice in order to achieve this everlasting happiness.
그래서 로조 제와라 말 남편이 다 기계지고 생각을 하고 그래서.
And in order to do the practice, we have to study what to practice, we to study, and to study, we need somebody to teach.
어다 근데 계획이 딱 자체모래 스타는데 슬로우지 밑다에 나빠가 내가 드릴게 참 말해 간지 샘 요와 동하게 계획이 샘은 요와 그래 쟁이 요와 동당 쟁이 계획이 같이 모래 했습니다. 나도 계획이 세야 돼 신이 세다라고 그랬어.
And so so the person or the teacher will teach you these means or the ways to achieve the everlasting happiness. It's very valuable. So it's not just any kind of teacher, who will teach you external things to do the external things, but who will teach you the method to achieve everlasting happiness. So last time we talked about the 8 benefits of this of relying on a spiritual guide, teacher. So I think we have already gone through the 5 of them, so today is the 6th one. So the teacher who will teach us what is to be abandoned, what is to be cultivated, that through doing which can bring everlasting happiness, is very important for us. So for example, the parents are very important for a child, right? Because the parents protect the child from all the dangers, right? From the danger of falling into being burned by fire or by being carried by a river and so forth, right? And so always teach all these different means to bring up the child and to protect the child. And so those of you who have been parents, you know, right? So you try all your means to help the child to become a good person and grow up as a good person. And so therefore the parents are very important for a child, and so whether the child is going to become a good person or not, a lot depends on the parents. And so all of us here now, who are able to do all the things by ourselves, and who gain all these knowledges, educations, is by the kindness of the parents, right? So the parents send us to schools, they made us to do our homeworks, and study well and so forth. So because of that, we have all these knowledges and educations. Right?
보고대 재미라 야보 용모데 제대로 파마 야보 이메
So whether the child is going to become Buddha or not in the future, in the later part of the child's life or not, depends on how the child is brought up during his early part of life.
야 파마 가서 야지 보라 때는 때와 사람들이 운호라 당시에 뭔도 와디 있어.
Also, there are some parents, who don't care so much about the child and spoil the child.
어때지? 야 쇼치네 야 소소 야지 밤에 까르니 밤에 강한 제와도 단다 준도 또 야보도 정말 좋아.
And also, the child should listen to the parents, right? And listen to the parents, do all the things their parents tell you to do, all the good things their parents tell you to do, and you become a good person.
야 가지 밤에 가지까지 나 보고 가면 인다나 보고 통화를 좀 너무 가대요.
But there are some children, who don't listen to their parents at all, and they are, spoiled, and there's full of them in the world.
이리와 어때도 지발에서 다 걔네에 대한 나도 가르치는 가르치는 만족이 아니 저 개와도 대표가 나도 진짜 많아 다 걔네에 대한 거 대다 걔네 나도 가르치는 거래서.
So, in the same way, the teacher is very important to us, very grateful for us, because the teacher is the one who shows us or who teaches us what is to be abandoned, what is to be cultivated, without any mistakes.
어때 걔네까지 저는 소중해야 걔네들 야구 떼는 거 그래서 떼고 제거 그래서.
So just as the teacher is very kind to us, very grateful to us, we should also rely in a proper way towards the teacher.
우리가 다들 야구 떼면 다 배에 가려다 다 배에 말아가 예 그래서 우리가 그러고.
So if we rely in a proper way to this teacher, then there are great benefits.
어때지 다 불법 트랩 그 트랩 탐지대 기회신이 무슨 와서 그대나 기회신이 야구는 최근에 했어.
So this is in the outline 71. Blue, that's the blue book, that's page 225. So you will not be deprived of virtuous spiritual guidance in all your future rebirths.
어디시죠? 다 보드 위에서 아니 가래 보드 위 운동 몸을 다 뺏어지 위에 들어가네. 몇시 보드 와서 내가 소말 레스트 이미 대위 춘제 마테 마마시 시당 춘제시다 라마테 서로 따지하고 제고 레스 따지 야보치네 때 잡아야는 때네 아니 기적 야보 제와야는 다 뭔가 아니 다 너무 좋은 거 말이에요. 아니 가래 수족 강마 제와다 가지 다 야보 연구를 해서 들어와서 신이 야보를 최근에 가디 임어야.
So just like Geshe says in the blue book of spells, it says avoid unexamined dharma relationships, and after examining, take heed, pay respect to the guru. Things are such that in the future you will not lack guru, for karma does not vanish.
다 가르쳐나 가르쳐오더나 힘이 가르쳐오더나 어다처럼 내가 코로 마사 저도 많아 대처럼 누가 저기 레스나도 가르쳐 대 마치와 있나 나도 대동안 내가 채워요.
So if you are, whatever advice you are given, like not to get angry, not to be attached, and so forth. So, but instead, if you don't do that, then you are breaking that advice, right?
시에서마다 신년 서지 대신에 시와 지내진 저 사람 탐지 기회신이 뭐가 용어를 들어와.
So it says there's if you properly devote to your spiritual life, the action will give a result similar to it. So you create the action of properly devoting to the guru now, and then you will also have the guru in the future.
아니 단다 소리고 대화에서 다 소리 따라가는 이 분위기 얘기들 아니까 상징이 진대시로 오시는 대화에나 신발 아니 샤마다 자야다 이라마 이게 좀 제약이 바자하면 되샤고 그러더라.
It says if you regard your present spiritual guide, who is an ordinary being, average being, as being an actual Buddha, and devote yourself to him properly, you will later meet with gurus like Maitreya and Manjushri.
대여봐야 나라도 스님은 나야다 손을 들어와. 쟤들 남아 쓰지 니지. 그렇단 저도 기회 신인 조당 야지죠. 상황만 주도 당주 투명이를 다 이것이 약간 전에 되게 나오시 좀 말하고 왔는데 다 상지 코가 투거래서.
And so that's what it said in the essence of nectar lam-rim, which is the result congruous with the cause of paying your guru proper respect in this life is meeting with the supreme spiritual guides in all future lives and hearing the completely unmistaken dharma from them.
내가 조지 배를 거래야 아니 조지래야 아니 지기 저거야 그래서 아니 배워들 검색을 못 보셔야 되나 똑같은 게 주는 건데 가만히 놔두려고 그래서.
So once Nama Disha came to Tibet, someone asked him a question: why is there not many people with much realizations? While there are so many of them who are doing the practice.
아니 저 배워서야 라마나 타오는 대신에 봐 아니 똑바 가라요 뭐 말해서.
And then Nama Disha's utilities, see the Guru only as an ordinary being. How will you be able to have any realizations? You will not.
그래서 나도 다 검색을 못 보야 돼. 똑같이 세상 통문도.
So we see a lot of people meditating, but we don't see much of them having any realizations.
Maybe you guys I don't see much. Some people do 3 years later they come back then more. 맞아. 맞아. 체리
Comes out with more pride.
Then Georgie told that Georgie could never let it work. Don't must stand up them by the young. Koala you machine and shoot that out of you
So even if you have all these 3 different vows, if you don't have renunciation, then your practice will not become a cause to achieve liberation.
아니 그디나 개발은 배워야 양수로 아니 조사도 망고이나 아니 사리도 베기로 말이에요.
So even if you strive to practice virtuous action all the time, if you don't dedicate that for the enlightenment, it will never become a cause to achieve enlightenment.
what did that 나도 즉 시장이 시장에 다 야부시라 했다. 나도 생각이 다 나주 사와칭이 특게당 레가당 그리감에 된다다 어떻게 해야 되죠? 야부시라 했어. 이나다 대적이잖아. 다 대당 어떻게 가서 영향을 지어가야지. 그래서 통화선도
So the fact that we are all trying very hard to do the practice, to study practice, despite all the busyness that we are in, it's very good. But even though we try to do as much as we can, we are not able to try to meditate and practice as much as we can, but we're not able to have much realizations.
It's not only Westerns, everybody.
So yeah, the Western Tibetans are saying because of the time.
되는 것을 받아 인정해 봐. 그봐 누가나 있다 제도고요 말이죠. 같이 채워나.
Because of the degeneration of the time, practitioners are also not able to practice as much as before.
다들이라고 관심 맞에 다 신이나 소소 댄스 야보지 채워야나 뒤에 제도진자도 다 그디나 니가 되고 양해하는 제약이 다 받아잡아야 된다고 요래서요.
And so anyway, so if you devote properly to the Guru now, then you will not be deprived of the Gurus in the future. You will find the Gurus again and again in the future. The seventh benefit is that you will not fall into the lower realms. So if you properly devote to the teacher, which is heeding to the teacher and doing practicing just as he or she advised, if you do that, then of course you will not create any cause to fall into the lower realms. If you don't have a cause to be born in the lower realm, then you will never be born in the lower realm.
다 산나도 뒤에 그런 다 산에 사자대로 다 걔네 개ట్టు가 깝쳐다 하면서 니다다 하는데 이게 지금 무슨 바로 들어왔어. 근데 빼서 하니까 이게 좀 가는 거죠.
So because of the time and the place, the teachers don't have much power, right? You can't beat the students. So if you beat student here, you might get into jail.
In Tibetan, in Tibetan tradition, they teach the big lord, students. They have the mala, But mala, very, you just see the mala, very good to watch.
It's a very good, whip with the children, the students.
When we was I was in Sarah, we have to go in morning, maybe 5 o'clock, we have to go puja. And also we go to very late to sleep, midnight, maybe 1 o'clock, maybe, and then midnight. We don't get much sleep. Then we go to puja, we sleep, try to do this. Some monks very good to sleep. This parent doesn't know he's sleep or not, just I'm very bad. When I'm home, I just then, I got a couple of times with the mala here. Very, very social yourself. They were, I know mala very good to eat. Then also, sometimes the teachers, we go to, when I was studying there, maybe 5 or 10 students, 5 or 10 students in the teacher's room. Then everybody have to watch the teacher's face, we don't allow to read the book. Then he said, what is the definition, something, then, sometimes India very hard, Tamil very hard, in non-term, we are not air condition, very hard, we fall asleep, then, teachers sometimes he throw up things, he does. This is doing the, how they beat the teachers and the students. The students have never bad thoughts. So,
Never get angry towards the teacher.
They respect, they say, they Kurukulla.
So normally the students don't think of the teacher as being bad, so they always take this as a lesson or kindness from the teacher to give them the opportunity to study and so forth. So never get angry thinking that he was very bad, he beat me and so forth.
Also sometimes very good, the disciplines beat us. Very good for purify negative karmas. Some monks not very happy, then some bad, something wrong, and then they, some situation they, disciplines, they beat them. Complete to sound
so the unhappiness or the pain or the disease in the body will be clear.
Maybe they do something broken there, law, something doesn't, the discipline doesn't see they do something wrong behind that. Then if people doesn't see that I'm a protector, so they see there's something wrong. Then that could need that also.
So because he broke the rule, and when he got beaten, then by breaking the rule he created negative karma, and then as a result he experiences pain or some kind of disease. But then when he gets the beating, that purifies the negative karma, and then he gets recovered from the disease.
다 내일마치 예다다다 친구들 몰라도 대 공도 야보 친구들 딴 얼마나 거 소카리 대다 내다 다 거리 이거 걸어서 어떻게 제가나 나도 야보 찍 말이 왔어.
In this country, you don't consider that as good, right, beating and so forth, because of different times. It wasn't like this all the time, but nowadays it's like this, right?
Yeah. Therefore, the teachers not good, they got bad, because they beat the students. They didn't sorry anymore. They don't know bad the job.
So in one way, it has become like a tradition a cultural tradition to beat the students, but it is never with a bad thought. So just to teach the children, teach the student, and so therefore the students don't get angry, so don't think of the teacher as bad.
So here I heard last year that one Chinese lady, she had I think 2 kids in New York. Of course sometimes kids doesn't listen, then parents have to do something, Maybe some big little bit. Then next day the kid go to school, then the teachers saw. They said, what's happened? Then they said, oh, some parents do something. Then they took kids from the parents. This is not, and then was.
So the people took the kids and the children away from the parents. So there's like a kind of rules here.
Therefore, parents have a little bit hard to poor was.
So it is a little bit difficult for the parents to discipline their children. The children, they need both. Sometimes you have to be rough to them. Sometimes you have to, of course, have to have love towards them. But sometimes you have to be rough to them also.
And some Tibetans know they cool sense that is. Cool that they have done more than
so Tibetans, they pinch the buttock. So that part people don't see.
No.
Yes.
They go to school and the teachers doesn't see it. Something they do that. But here, anyway, I don't know this.
So anyway, in Tibetan traditions, there are the teachers who beat the students to teach when teaching them. And so it said, it is believed that when the student receives beatings and scoldings from the teacher, that helps to purify the negativities of the student.
다들 좀씩 와서 계신 하소에 계시 둘이가 잘해진다 하소 갑자기 딴하나 나 그랬어요. 아니 난그 엄마 아니 야부 다 계신 하소에 그런 걸 엄마지게 따때 가래. 아니 계신 하소 말아야 둘이가 그만 답을 딱 그냥 그게 야부 문제잖아. 그래서 어때 말했어. 나라 대단체 봤다 해렇게 신기하다 말했어. 다네 하소에 송말했어.
So here there's a story about it. So whenever Geshe Hasowa visited Geshe Tolungpa, for example, Hasowa would always get scolded. It says Nyakmo, one of Hasowa's one disciple, criticized him, but Hasowa replied, "Don't say that. Every time he does this to me, it is like being blessed by Heruka."
And then Lunga Tombabi, and the Tishuna Wanker is, there was no Wanker is. 실험주나 대라주다 대라주는 시험을 갑자기 trouble 장마 맞아버렸어. 마셔가 디세를 했어. 무슨 했어. 다들 뭐 배를 소리로.
Also here said that Dogon Sangpa Gary, who said, if you are stuck or beaten, it is an initiation. It's like granting initiation. If you take it as a blessing, you will be blessed. A hard scolding is like a wrathful mantra that removes every hindrances.
This is I know. This doesn't work this country right now. It's 21st century. But this is the Tibetan tradition. All Buddhism, all church Buddhism tradition. Then parchedo 신업 치고인바는 사인님은 도나도 손을 해들어.
And also it says in the other words, use of the use of the karma to be reborn in the lower realms. The sutra requested by Krishna Garbha Chasas.
대리 대가는 가와시와 통정 몸도 싸버리 내가 간가 아니 세대 더 간가 다르고 그래까지 다 되나 도저래서.
So by doing this, you purify karma that would otherwise make you wander in the lower realms for immeasurable millions of eons.
산지에 다 소소게네 야보 때문에 되게 지금 강에 가서 대소소도 제방 대제와 되게 개사 되게 사제도 상조 생발했다 가지고 근데 상주 샘제와 진바도 와서 가르치고 단소 같이 강가다 수진한테 그래서 샘바도 계속 토고세요.
Yes, this karma will occur in this life in terms of things harmful to body and mind, and the epidemics and the famines and so on, the karma is even purified by scolding or by or by nightmares, and you can overcome karma in one morning by giving your generated root merit to immeasurable numbers of Buddhas, or by keeping your vows. Anyway, so these are all, how it shows how important it is to rely on a guru, and what benefits are there if you rely properly in him or her. So now let's go back and read these two outlines that we just went through. The outline number 71 and 72. You will not be deprived of virtuous spiritual guides in all your future lives. Geshe Ngawang says in the field of service, avoid examining some relationship. After examining, take heed, pay respect to the Guru. Things are such that in the future you will not lack the Guru, for karma does not vanish. That is, if you are properly devoted to your spiritual guide, the action will give a result similar to it. You will not be deprived of virtuous spiritual guides in all your future lives. If you regard your present spiritual guide, who is an ordinary average being, as being natural good, devote yourself to him properly, you will later meet with the gurus like Tibetan and Shri and listen to their teachings. That is why the essence of lam-rim says, the result of Guru's of meeting your guru, proper respect in his life, is meeting with the spirit spiritual guides in all future lives, and hearing the completely unmistaken down from them. You will not fall into the lower realms. If you are properly devoted to your spiritual guides, the use of the forming karma to be taken, and you will not be devoted. This happens even when it scolds you. Whenever Geshe Ngawang visited Geshe Ngawang, for example, Ngawang will only get scolded. Nyambo, one of Ngawang's own disciples, criticized him. But Ngawang replied, don't say that. Every time he does this to me, he is like being blessed by Kurukulla. Then you can start his initiation. If you take it as a blessing, you will be blessed. A heart scolding is like a rocket mantra that removes every hindrance. In other words, the use of karma to remove all worlds. The sutra requested by Geshe Ngawang Tenley. By doing this, you purify karma that would otherwise make you wandering in the lower realms for the national billions of humans. This karma will occur in this life if it turns on these epidemics, famines, and so on. Karma is even purified by slow and not by night. And you can overcome karma in one morning by giving your generated root.
Oh, good. You can get the very good entrance. Then, therefore, we have to get. Then you work on.
So you're marriage.
What is? That's an internal message.
So I think we'll stop here for now, and then we'll go to the homework now. Is there any questions regarding these two outlines? So the question. Says the guru that we rely on should have what kind of good qualities?
Usually we don't talk with this time, but we talk previous time many times. Can I say? Who will be voluntary?
I can name some of the qualities. The guru has to be wise, have compassion, have wisdom, have a very concentrated mind, a very focused mind, also have very strong knowledge of the Dharma and be a skilled teacher and know more than the disciple knows. Those are the ones I can remember right now.
Oh, she's good. You really give the 21 name to the other. That can you, she's right, whatever she said. Can you get to the Kaji, do they get so much? Chucha, and the one at the Kaji, yes.
So yeah, what you said is right, so but Geshe said he just was expecting the 10 good qualities, but you said it, all the 10. So you answered the second question already.
Yeah, that's right.
Some part of the second question.
And that chucha dango, yes, that.
So it has to have the spiritual, the fully qualified spiritual teacher should have all these 10 good qualities. The second question is, what are those 10? What are the 10 good qualities?
I think she will count them.
Some of it, right? She counted some of it. Anybody has?
Can you count?
All 10 good qualities? So there's a verse for that, right? That's if you usually you can memorize the verse, and if you memorize the verse, then you have all those 10 qualities. And so now the first one is the first good quality that he should have, or he or she should have, is he or she should be subdued. A person who is very subdued by the practice of morality. And so, which shows that he or she has to have practiced morality a lot, and because of that, in the result, she or he should be very subdued. And then the second quality is pacified. So, pacified by the practice of concentration, and especially the mindfulness and the introspection. With those two, through the practice of those two, the person, the teacher, should be very pacified. And then he has to be, he has to have, of course, the training of the wisdom. And then one of that which you said, more quality, more knowledge than the disciple. And then he should be learned, so he should be rich in the scriptural knowledge, the scriptural knowledge, the knowledge that you gain from the scriptures. You should have a lot of those knowledges. You should be rich with that knowledge. And then you should realize the suchness, which means the emptiness, right? Which is the same as emptiness. You have to realize emptiness well. And then so those are the those are the qualities that the teacher should have from his or her side. And then also he should be skilled in speaking, so be able to speak well, so that people will want to listen to him. And then other ones, just like you said, who is very compassionate. And then who is very who makes very strong effort to help others, to teach them. And then you should have the endurance, being able to endure all the hardships that you have to go through to help or to teach the student.
그래. 단조 다 제 바로 지금 좀 말이야. 그거 그래서.
What is?
제 바로 지금 좀 말. 그걸 배워 줘봐. 아니 퀄리티도 내가 그래서 신이.
And so these are the so these are the qualities that we need as a teacher to benefit the students, the disciples.
아니 저 삼선 개인은 이거로 개출 teaching 제가 동조 재미지 와다 재미지들이 지모들은 인생이지 사람에게도 고소도 샤셔거든요. 됐더니 제 좋은 말이 있을까지 도움이 참 다른 제가 이거 그랬을게.
And so the teacher should not have any kind of any sense of discrimination towards the disciples. Like some disciples, they're rich, they make a lot of offerings, and the teacher is better towards them. And then there are some disciples who are poor, who don't have much offerings to make, and not so good to them. They should not be like that. So anyway, so from the teacher's side, to be a fully qualified teacher, you have to have all these 10 qualities.
근데 다 나오는 책은 소리다 대상 뒤라 때문에 다 내리 쫓다니 얘기 말해와서 그래요.
So, but in the lam-rim chemo, it is said that because of this time and detention time, it's very difficult to find a teacher with all these 10 good qualities.
얘네가 제가 말하는 가지 지차 찍는 게 인지비고 그래서 지차 찍.
Even if you cannot find the teacher with all these 10 good qualities, at least a quarter of them, these 10 good qualities.
어떻게 해서 나도 지금 당번에 이게 강한 수술을 계속 때야 돼. 당번에 야보지 따지치고 그래서 때 다리서 말았다 때 대화를 오지 말라 됐다. 이제 들으려고 그랬어.
So just like you said, so you should not rely on an unexamined teacher, and so you have to examine the teacher first very well. And then once you are sure that that person is really qualified to be your teacher, then you rely on that person or to take that person as your teacher. Once you have taken that person as your teacher, then you should never rely on him in an improper way.
Sometimes you can do individual teacher. Then maybe teacher is not very good, then he get angry. 아직 양까지 따지지만 뭐 individual 그냥 말까지 되나? 그거. 로탄 같은 관심하지 다 퀄리티를 상담을 해서
So you have to check his good qualities, his or her good qualities, see whether he has all these good qualities or not, or at least a quarter of them, one fourth of these 10 good qualities. So it doesn't mean like you have to go and talk to him and take an interview of the teacher, not like that, but in a respectful way, check his or her good qualities.
그냥 라만도와 제네베 타요 말이었어. 다 지금 지송을 했어. 대다 토마랑 그랬어. 아딱 게게다가 게게디다 뭐니 게게 코랑 게트라다 와는 컨셉트 들고 그랬어.
So the teacher has to be subdued, so subdued by the practice of morality. So you should not have all these delusions and so forth, and not manifesting at least. So it has to be subdued. So if you are not, if the teacher is not subdued, she will not be able to subdue the student. And so therefore, it is important to have the teacher who is subdued.
아니 지금 솔직히 이게 대화에다 대화도 대화죠. 다 대화해 보고 이거예요.
And so once you have taken that person as your teacher, then it's very important to have a strong faith and devotion towards that person.
대화 용어도 이해되면 대화 있지. 이해되면은 대화 용어 말해 왔어.
So if you see the good qualities, then you will have the faith in him or her.
이거 대화 이해된 통화나 이해되면 딱 그러면 걔는 따놨다 너도 그때는 걔 통도 그래요.
So to see the good qualities, if you have to look from the good quality side. If you look to the faults, then you will only see the faults.
Okay, that was somebody got it. That you did church is.
And then the third question is, just memorize each of the 10 good qualities.
It's not a question, but also the 10 qualities come into letter. But if you memorize, then you always then remember the couple of years ago, then someone asked to Holiness, where can I take the teacher? He asked, you have to check teacher quality, 10 qualities. If you the teachers have that or not, you should check that. Otherwise, I cannot say, oh, he or she is very good, you can take teacher. He or she not good, then don't take teacher. I cannot say that. Therefore, you know there's 10 qualities, then you can investigate the teacher. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
Yes, Pabongka Rinpoche further on mentions mentions 5 minimum qualities that a teacher needs, and Lama Tsongkhapa also says in the lam-rim 5 minimum qualities. So I'm interested in finding out where the 1/4 number is coming from.
lam-rim chemun not what is on this. 법을 보시기에 not what is on this. 그런 게 시작식 날에 가서
대한 lam-rim 친구들 신인들도 가지면 돼.
That's also in the lam-rim chemo.
Oh.
In the Guru devotion section.
Yeah. So in that section it says in that section it says that 1/8 of the qualities in the Tantra requested by Subhahu is valid. 1/8 of these is valid. Therefore, accept that as the defining characteristics of a guru, a minimum of 1/8 of all the defining characteristics set forth here, combining those that are easy to acquire with those that are difficult to acquire. So the 1/8 number is there, and actually there's 1/2, 1/4, or an 1/8 of the quality. I'm sorry. So 1/2, 1/4, or 1/8, all three are in the verse by Subhahu.
Geshe, Shichachi, and Nichachi.
시체측 가지다 많다 그러고 나한테는 시체측 되고 그래서.
So at the very least, things that we should have 1/4 of it.
Right. It says the mantra practitioner should rely on an assistant who has 1/2, 1/4, or 1/8 of the quality. Thank you.
Correct.
No, I never got it within the options.
어디 대학 강의에서 너도 세다냐 낙쇼양 신이의 야대서 만나고 강의를 안된 걸 하더니 노쇼라고 그랬어. 노쇼 신이랑 노쇼당이야. 그래. 내가 얘기하면 또 카카시랑 당하는 노쇼 아시.
Yeah. So yeah, that's for the Tantra teachings. Tantra teacher, right?
Yeah.
So for the Sutra teacher is different, and then there's the Vinaya teacher is different.
Yeah, a lot different than being confused. I can't imagine. Well, yeah. Then any other questions? Yeah.
Geshe Ngawang Tenley says that the guru has to be a proponent of Prasangika Madhyamika to be fully qualified as the realization into suchness. So I was wondering, for example, in the earlier part of Tibet when Buddhism first came, Chandra Akshita was a proponent of Thubten Damchoe. So were his students, did they not have a fully qualified guru because he wasn't a Prasangika?
Rinpoche said that.
He said that they have to be proponent of Prasangika Madhyamika in order to have that quality of realization into suchness. So I was wondering about like the earlier parts of Tibet when students were, they had Chandra Akshita as their teacher who was a Thubten
In that book, you saw that in that book. It says proponent of the Prasangika Madhyamika.
Yeah, it says in the book that the realization of emptiness, the view has to be according to the school of Prasangika, according to the school of Prasangika.
But not the proponent.
Not specifically not Prasangika Madhyamika. It's right in the.
It's
on page 2. It's on the first day of day 8, first part of
220?
No, it's on page 238, right at the top, and the bottom of 237.
It's the blue, right? The blue.
Yeah, on the top. So the last sentence of page.
나 가서 기회 신이다. 가서 인지민들에 가서 달려버리 넘어와지 그랬어. 넘어와지 그랬어. 나는 그냥 샨다라 시대 와서 쉬어서 나는 먼저 가서 가서 엄마 아빠 가서
센터.
말 뭐라 가서
어디죠?
단주바다 란주바 다 말았어 안테 제산데 코란데 코란이 로마도 코란데 가서 라마데 디가 말했어요. 그래서 38
제인지 말하네.
and the page at the bottom, right?
238 the top, 237 bottom.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, there's a difference in realizing the emptiness according to the Prasangika Madhyamaka view and the proponent of the Prasangika Madhyamaka view. There's a difference there. Even though you are proponent of the Prasangika Madhyamaka view, but you can still be someone who have already realized the Prasangika Madhyamaka view's emptiness. So that's the difference, and that's why I want to make exactly sure. The view means of wisdom gained through their studies, right? The view is the view according to the Prasangika school. So view is according to the Prasangika school. It doesn't say proponent of the Prasangika Madhyamaka school.
I see. So even masters who are proponents of Sotan
Yeah, so
나와대.
보통에 센서버라. 센서버라. 그런데 돈이 또 들어온다. 그런데 달려오고 또 와. Yeah. So just like even the Asanga, who is the proponent of the mindfulness school, but he realizes the emptiness according to the Prasangika Madhyamaka school.
Okay, so there's a difference between the view and the proponent.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, that was always confusing for me.
Yeah.
The
The view is the view according to the Prasangika school. This is high wisdom. I'm not referring to the wisdom that comes when one discovers the view through the Sarvatantrika school and below. So that's here he's talking about the view and of the emptiness. That is according to the high school, the Prasangika school.
That's also similar to like Lama
So
Surinpa.
you don't see proponent. I didn't see that proponent. Did you see that proponent in that?
No. Okay,
So
so that's the difference. Thank you.
Yeah.
대단히 단다시 땅이랑 다 대신 너무 많이 먹이가. 교신은 대신도 왔어.
Underdero. And then also.
다 대화 투모. 투모 단단하게 되려도. 일람들 대화 투모기 이제 조금이 나왔어. 단단데 다 대화 투모기 조금이 그랬어.
So here we're talking about the teachers in of the common school. So not particularly the Mahayana school or the Hinayana school. It's talking about in common, in general, general schools. So there you can't be only the proponent of one school.
So they might just they teach that.
But of course,
according
the
to them.
final the realization is the realization of the Prasangika Madhyamaka school. And so, but the view will be according to that, but proponent can be different.
So they might just teach that view according to those students, but from their side they have a different view.
대꾸로 되거든. 그 대장 가는 대장 때문에 말이죠. 권하면 내가 나시 대장 반가시 말아.
그런데 또 달리버리 그거 어서래.
그래.
그 달리버리 다 돈이 지고 그랬어. 그러나
이게 권하네.
잡아야 말아.
대자와야만 대자와 전에 말. 대고로 말이야. 근데 너무 세리마. 세리마 지금 삼정 말아. 조지 그게. 따와서 전다 대도 되게 따왔던 거 그래서 이제 다녀보고 말했어.
Yeah. So says that the 가서 따왔다 되는데 가서 달리버리 따왔어. 순간.
내려고 따와 다니고 따 동에 대 고랑 다 다녔다고 그랬어. 나랑이 내 샤워를 했어. 시당 다는데 나대야 돼. 근데 시당 보고 말했어. 시장이.
So yeah, even then, it's difficult to say because there are like teachers like Thubten Damchoe, right? So who is the proponent of the mindfulness school, and he realizes emptiness according to the mindfulness school. But he was one of the main guru of Namatisha. And so because he taught him the bodhicitta, so therefore he regards the Thubten Damchoe as even the most important teacher among all his teachers. But in terms of the view, Lamatisha has the higher realization than Thubten Damchoe. That's what it says, right? So yeah, it's just saying that not necessary to have that kind of. It's not necessary to have, even though it says here maybe it's referring to the Mahayana school, so for that, but not necessary for every school, for the teachers of every school. when they teach, you don't have to teach the personal school view only. You teach, according to whatever would be most beneficial for them. If it will be more beneficial for them to understand this view, then they will teach this view.
근데 시험하고도 너희가 따와 선생이 따로 선생이 열심히 공부해라 봤어.
There are also many spiritual teachers who hold the view of the Vaibhashikas and Sautrantikas. So if you say you need the view of the Prasangika Mathematical School to all of them, then you will have to say these are not teachers.
That's true.
단다들 납다야 돼. 또 대화 통화하세요. 다 대화 중에 강가에 예민하고 시작해. 이게 따와들 다 다시 그 통화 관계가 계획이다. 되게 따와대 다 당겨 따와대 이거 그래서
So for this here, I think it's because it's talking about the views in common. So views in common will be the view of the Prasangika Mathematical School. So that's what I think, but you can still investigate more on that. Ask questions and debate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Geshe.
Then?
Over here.
Someone else have a question?
Okay.
You were saying that although the 10 qualities, I'm just reading out of this part of the path, it says, although these 10 qualities are mentioned in Ornament of Mahayana Sutra, it says that even if the guru doesn't have all these qualities, he should at least have the following 5, or realization of emptiness, compassion, greater understanding, and how, from a student's point of view, how are you to know whether someone would have a realization of anything? I've never heard anyone say, I have realized. It's kind of.
대파에다 되게 걸리게 한번 왔어. 그지만 기초소 소소 간제만에 소소만에 딴 데가 얘기하잖아. 약품도 소소 간제 얘기하잖아. 가는 딴 나들도 삼는 저기 왔어. 지금 고통이 또 사람들만 다시 오신 거로.
뭐 그런 다시 돈이 걸어 시다 말았다네 하고 됐어.
아니 그런 양념은 돈이 되는 거 싫은 나고 그러고. 양념 나와 있나? 근데 또 이래도 되는 거 되잖아. 소소긴 양념해야 되냐. 그러고.
So yeah, for most of us it will be difficult to know that that person has a realization of emptiness. But the way he explained, the way he talked about it, from that you can see that wow, he really has good understanding about it. The way he explained it, and from the way he explained, I think he has a realization. You can feel like that. So you can feel like, but of course it's difficult, for everybody to know whether they have the realization of emptiness or not, because the teacher never will come out and say, I have realized emptiness. So it's difficult, but yeah, so you mostly, usually as you hear from somebody else, or you hear, you go and you check yourself and you see like, oh, the way he explained, the way he talked about it, seems like he really has realization of emptiness.
이게 그런 거가 예때 되는데 라병이 지나 다 다시 얘네도 다시 요 말잖아.
So, but if he says he has realization of emptiness, then maybe he doesn't have it.
나도 다 시간대 나도 배우려 소리했어. 배우려 소라 말에 얘네들한테 영이 틀려버리나? 나도 얘네들 매화로 근데 야구 말게 틀렸어.
But that is usually the Tibetan way. If in Tibetan way, if someone says I have these good qualities, then they don't really have that good qualities. Usually, if you have good qualities, you just hide them. You don't tell this to the people.
This country we say, well, I have a PhD, I'm a scholar. This is that country looks so well.
Yeah, but then here in America, people always tell what they have, what they know, what the qualities. Maybe if it's an American teacher, they will tell you they have realization.
I'm joking, okay? This is
So yeah, it becomes different in terms of time and place and people that you interact with.
Okay, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
So we'll do the prayers after the teachings.